I remember a few years ago a conversation somebody was having about Mother Teresa because everybody has to have an opinion about everything, and they were saying, "Oh, it's a pity she didn't have a Catholic nun's outfit that she went with that Hindu sari thing." Um, Many people will recall she joined the Sisters of Charity, I believe, and when she left, she went to work for the poor of Calcutta and wore a sari with the blue stripes, which represented Our Lady. And I was there. It was many years ago. It was about 20 years ago. I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know then, and with the confusion in the church, I was there thinking, well, how are nuns supposed to dress? And I didn't really have an opinion to say or to kick back. But now I do have an opinion to say about what people say is Catholic and what people say is not Catholic. If you dress this way, you're Catholic, and if you dress this way, you're not Catholic. Last year, I promoted a traditional Latin Mass in Knock, and a lady came to meet me in Knock, and she went to Mass, and somebody during the Mass made a comment about her dress, about how she wasn't dressed correctly for the Mass. And the lady said it to me afterwards, and I said, "Look, don't worry. Christ was so happy that you came with your heart." I would never point fingers at how some people dress. I think naturally people, once they grow in the faith, you'll begin to migrate towards pleasing our Lord, to dressing differently if you can. But, Christ reaches us at different points in our life. And the process of conversion, metanoia, Christ said, change our mind, to have a change of mind, to change our lives. That process is ongoing through our own lives. And before starting pointing fingers at other people, we should point the fingers at ourselves and say, how can I love Christ more? I mean, I remember that comment to this day about this person thinking, they were calling Mother Teresa modernist, and this modernist church, and everything is the church is post Vatican II, forgetting the fact that she was wearing this sari before Vatican II. And just thinking about all of what she did in her life, this tiny woman, I think before we can go start criticizing her, we have to ask, what are we doing? Because it was a hard life for her. It was a hard life. It's a hard life to work with the poor. It was a hard life, what she did. You're in a city. It's not like they were going to sleep in air-conditioned rooms or had air conditioning, or they had a very, very simple, hard life. And the sari, that type of dress really lent itself to the work that they actually did, which was very physical, manual work. And it lent itself to the environment where they were working. It was a practical dress, a practical habit to wear for the work that she did. Oftentimes in the church today, we look at things in the church and we have our preconceived ideas that the faith can only be this way. If it's not in this box, then it can't be any other way. I often fell into that trap, thinking, okay, look, we can only express our faith in this box, and if it's not in that box, then it's wrong. Case in point, there's this whole debate in the church whether we should say the Our Father with our hands like this, our hands out, or whether we should should the faithful be able to say the Our Father with the Oran's posture. And there's been this debate going on for years. And I love traditional Latin Mass, but I'm there mystified. What is going on with us Catholics that we're going around looking at what other people are doing and how they're praying? If somebody wants to pray the Our Father with their hands out, let them pray the Our Father with their hands out. If they don't, you don't. I sometimes when I see this, I just wonder what has happened to us in the church. If somebody wants to go to a traditional Latin Mass, let them go. Foster that experience for them. If somebody wants to go to a charismatic Mass, let them go, if that's what helps them. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to come back. What is the faith and morals of the church? What is the teaching of the church? And we seem to be so intent in going around and telling other people how they should live their faith. And we have done this for centuries. Remember, the Latin Church went and told the Syro-Malabars or the Greek Catholics, no, you can't practice the faith like you've been practicing it. No, that's wrong and this was wrong. No, you can't have the Mass in that language. You have to have it in Latin. This isn't something new. And so I would ask, people, Catholics of all sides, don't go around poking at other people's way of expressing their faith. If what they're doing conforms with the teaching of the Catholic Church, if it's been permitted, if it's been discerned, in a sensible way, in a sensible way. Do you know what I mean? If you went and experienced a Greek Catholic Mass or another form of worship in the church, if you went to the Ordinariate Rite in Britain, the Anglican Rite that Pope Benedict brought into the church, you will find that it's a different Mass. It could be even considered a Protestantized Mass. In effect, the Anglican Rite that has many elements of Protestantism, and yet it is 100% Catholic, blessed in the church. That's simply a fact. And I just think we should be giving encouragement and helping Catholics and not trying to go around poking at them all the time. No, you're doing wrong. No, you're doing this. It's all gobbledygook what you're doing. That's not Catholic, and this is not Catholic. I mean, somebody was telling me once that the St. Benedict cross, it wasn't... they said, why are they putting a St. Benedict medal, as if the cross wasn't powerful enough? And I suppose when I was there, I just didn't know how to respond to this. And how can you have a personal encounter with Christ if we keep looking at everything that that's going on? I mean, there is a lot of confusion in the church. I know there's a lot of confusion, especially when it comes to faith and morals. There's a lot of confusion. We're not leading people to show them how they have to act. We're not telling them what is a sin and what is not a sin. A lot of subjectivism. And yeah, it can be a very, very, very confusing time in the church. But not everything that challenges us is wrong. And I suppose I go back to that example of Mother Teresa and her decision to use a sari, which was a dress that mainly Hindus would wear. I go back. She didn't change the faith of the Catholic Church by changing her habit. And there's that great quote in the church: the habit doesn't make the monk. And I think sometimes we get very hung up on certain details, and we miss the whole reason of our faith, which is to lead us to Christ. Really, really, which is to lead us to Christ. I mean, on the charismatic side, because I know some people get so annoyed in the church about the charismatic movement. I don't know why. I mean, you really haven't experienced it. You haven't seen their love for our Lord in the Eucharist. You haven't seen their defense of the faith, of the family, of spiritual battle. They really love the faith. They absolutely really love the faith. And it's not all, fuzzy-duzzy, what some people make it out to be. Likewise, I encourage people to go to traditional Latin Mass, experience what previous generations held sacred, which is great to us too at this time. We need to discern, and we need to talk to each other, and we need to be able to sit down as Catholics and just to preach the faith and spread the faith. The division in the church is very grave. There's a lot of confusion, but I would caution people: don't go sending criticizing people, without having all of your facts first, and without really having discerned well before you take up the challenge to shoot somebody down or to bring them down or something like that, because they are doing something different to you. It's amazing, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, how some Catholics think it's demonic. Oh, the Divine Mercy, no, that's modernist, that's demonic, there's no way I'm praying that. Or the Luminous Mystery. I've heard this so many times. Oh no, Luminous Mystery. There's only 3 mysteries in the Rosary. I'm never praying the Luminous Mystery. And that's modernist. And no, not a chance. And I don't think they've actually ever meditated on the Luminous Mystery. It's probably one of the most beautiful prayers. I always pray the Luminous Mysteries. Love it. Absolutely. I think it's one of the most beautiful things. And people fail to recognize that the faith, the way we express our faith, the way we live our faith, the way it flows, it develops. Our prayers have been added. The Mass had beautiful prayers added. There was a time in the church when the Dies Irae wasn't sung at a Requiem Mass. It was composed, it was added to the Mass, and it was sung at a Requiem Mass. The church develops and prayers are added, and it becomes more beautiful and more beautiful and more beautiful as we travel. The Luminous Mysteries, for me, makes the Rosary more beautiful. Absolutely amazing. And I just wish people would meditate on what they see. Meditate. Have a meditation. Think, discern, pray. Think, discern, pray before we criticize somebody else's faith experience or the way somebody else is expressing their faith. I mean, obviously, if they're expressing their faith, which is completely contrary to the teaching of the church, saying, well, look, I think marriage can be between a man and 3 women, or I think marriage can be between a man and a man, or I think marriage can be between 2 women. This goes completely contrary to the faith of the church. That's a different situation. But to pray with your hands, like the Our Father, to pray with your hands out, I mean, I have to ask, have we lost it if we're going to go around poking at people because they pray with their hands out? I don't do it, but others do. I haven't seen in the Catechism of the Catholic Church a teaching against this posture. And sometimes on postures, the way we pray, our postures, they do differ around the world. They do differ in different masses. Our postures, I just ask people to discern and think and encourage people, encourage Catholics. That's my call. Anyway, I this is this is a video of an encouragement to somebody that I want to encourage in the faith, and because I'm very passionate about this, and I do want to give encouragement to all Catholics, and I do hope Catholics can meditate and discern and help. If you want to make a criticism of somebody else, make a constructive criticism based on the teachings of the church. But like going after Mother Teresa because she wore a sari, I thought it was a low blow at the time. But now I'm older, I'm able to discern it a little bit better. This journey is amazing in the faith. Anyway, God bless. Take care. Bye bye.